Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yasodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yasodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Kishore Kishori ki jai, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Marani ki jai, Gaunitai ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today we are continuing with Canto 10, Chapter 21, and the text for today is 20 and 21, and text 20 is the text with the purport, so we'll chant that one responsibly. Hi achut bihitam vrajabala Matva vivastra plavanam vrata shutim Tatpurti kamastata shesha karmanam Sakshat kritam memuravadyam rikyataham Iti achuta bitam vrajabalam Matva vivastra plavanam vrata chutim Tatpurti kamastadashesha karmanam Shakshat kritam nemuravadyam rikyataham Iti achut bitam vrajabalam Matva vivastra plavanam vrata chutim Atputi kamastadavesha karmanam Shakshat kritam nemuravadyam rikyatam. Please chant. Iti achut bitam prajapalam Matva vivastra plavanam vratachitim Tatpurti kamastata shesha karmanam Shakshat kritam ne muravadyam rikyatam Iti achut bitam vrajabalam Matva vivastra plavanam vratachitim Tatpurti kamastata shesha karmanam Shakshat kritam ne muravadyam rikyatam. And the word for word. Iti, in these words, Achutena, by the infallible Supreme Lord, Abhihitam, indicated, Raja Abala, the girls of Raja, Matva, considering, Vivastra, naked, Aplavanam, bathing, Rajachutim, a fall down from their vow, Tatpurti, the successful completion of that, Kama, intently desiring, Tat, that performance, Ashesha Karmanam, and of unlimited other pious activities. Shakshat Kritam, to the directly manifest fruit. Nemu, they offered their obeisances. Avajyamrik, the cleanser of all sins. Yata, cause. Translation for text 20. Thus the young girls of Vrindavan, considering what Lord Achyuta had told them, accepted that they had suffered a fall down from their vow by bathing naked in the river, but they still desired to successfully complete their vow. And since Lord Krishna is himself the ultimate result of all pious activities, they offered their obeisances to him to cleanse away all their sins. In the purport, disciples of Srila Prabhupada. The transcendental position of Krishna consciousness is clearly described here. The gopis decided that it was better to renounce their so-called family tradition and traditional morality and simply surrender unto the Supreme Lord Krishna. This does not mean that the Krishna consciousness movement advocates immoral activities. In fact, the devotees of ISKCON practice the highest standard of restraint and morality. But at the same time, we recognize the transcendental position of Krishna. Lord Krishna is God and therefore has no material desire to enjoy young girls in sexual affairs. As will be seen in this chapter, Lord Krishna was not at all attracted to enjoying the gopis. Rather, he was attracted to their love and wanted to satisfy them. The greatest offense is to imitate the activities of Lord Krishna. In India, there is a group called the Prakrita Sahajas who imitate these affairs of Krishna and try to enjoy naked young girls in the name of worshipping Krishna. The ISKCON movement sternly rejects this mockery of religion because the greatest offense is for a human being to ludicrously imitate the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the ISKCON movement, there are no cheap incarnations, and it is not possible for a devotee of this movement to promote himself to the position of Krishna. 500 years ago, Krishna appeared as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who practiced strict celibacy throughout his student life, and at the age of 24 took sannyas, a lifelong vow of celibacy. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rigidly avoided contact with women in order to carry out his vow of loving service to Krishna. When Krishna personally appeared 5,000 years ago, he exhibited these wonderful pastimes which attract our attention. We should not become envious or shocked when we hear that God can perform such pastimes. Our shock is due to our ignorance, because if we try to perform these activities, our bodies would be afflicted by lust. Lord Krishna, however, is the supreme absolute truth and is therefore never disturbed by any material desire whatsoever. Thus, this incident in which the gopis gave up normal standards of morality and raising their hands to their head, bowed down in compliance with Krishna's order, is an example of pure devotional surrender and not a discrepancy in religious principles. In fact, the gopi surrender is the perfection of all religion, as Srila Prabhupada describes in Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Quote, "The gopis were all simple souls, and whatever Krishna said, they took to be true. In order to be freed from the wrath of Varunadev, as well as to fulfill the desired end of their vows, and ultimately to please their worshipable Lord Krishna, they immediately abided by his order. Thus, they became the greatest lovers of Krishna. and his most obedient servitors. Continuing quote, nothing can compare to the Krishna consciousness of the gopis. Actually, the gopis did not care for Varuna or any other demigod. They only wanted to satisfy Krishna, end of quote. And then text 21. Tastatai vanata drishtva bhagavan devaki sudam vasamsi tabhyaha prayachat karunaste natoshitaha. Translation for text 21. Seeing them bow down like that, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the son of Devaki, gave them back their garments, feeling compassionate towards them and satisfied by their act. Om Jnanatimrandasya Gananjana Shlakaya Chakshurinmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manopistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamlam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahita Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Adasahagana Lalita Shri Vishaka Vitamscha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhudina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate. Sapsa Kanchana Gorangi Radha Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Vanchakalpataribhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale. Srimati Rom Padaswami iti namine Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale. Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami iti namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Navishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So I'll just read the translation again for text 20. Thus the young girls of Vrindavan, considering what Lord Achyuta had told them, accepted that they had suffered a fall down from their vow by bathing naked in the river. But they still desired to successfully complete their vow, and since Lord Krishna is himself the ultimate result of all pious activities, they offered their obeisances to him to cleanse away all their sins. So, to extend the thinking of the gopis a little further, there's the writing of Srila Kavikarnapura, and this is his writing. So we're getting further insight into the thinking of the gopis. So this is quoting from him. Seriously considering Krishna's proposal, the doe-eyed gopis thought, we should do whatever the opposition suggests, but we cannot guess what he will say next. And if we do not comply, the results of our vrata will be destroyed. So what can we do? Now, the gopis are making a decision in this particular verse. And they decide simply to surrender to Krishna. Now, the thought that they had was that their vrata, the vow they'd undertaken for 1 month, shouldn't be lost. They'd undergone all the austerities and the appropriate result was desired. So for this reason, they made a decision which is, one could say, a controversial decision. They made a decision that was to surrender their modesty. And Considering that their vow was to obtain, the result that they were looking for was to obtain Krishna as their husband, and Krishna is actually requesting something of them, they reach a decision that they're going to comply with his request. And that particular request produced confusion and conflict because it entailed them surrendering their modesty, but they decide to do this. And Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he points out how this particular verse that we're doing today explains the reasoning. So I'm going to read their reasoning. Or rather, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's reasoning. When Krishna had pointed out that bathing naked was an offense, the gopis decided that their vow had become useless. So this obviously has the implication that the authority of Krishna is everything to them. So the minute he actually tells them, oh, actually you've committed an offense by bathing naked, they take it that the implication is that the result will not come from their vow, because they saw this bathing as the correct action for completing the vow correctly. But in fact, the manner in which they perform the vow is under criticism from Krishna. He says, oh, the fact that you bathe naked is an offense that's been committed. So they decided their vow had obviously, the result of their vow was not going to come, and even the performance of the vow had now become useless because of the offense that had been committed. Because they're desiring to attain the result of their vow, they offered respects to Lord Krishna, because they understood that he bestows the results of all actions. And the way they see it is, what to speak of just this vrata? He bestows the result of any actions that are performed. So the offering of respect to Lord Krishna is, they're understanding he's the ultimate authority, so they're going to offer respects to him. But this offering of respect to Lord Krishna took the form of offering respects to him or obeisances to him in the way that he requested it to be done. So they're already in a naked condition, in a secluded place, and this is what Lord Krishna tells them. "O young girls, your glances fly hither and thither like the fearful eyes of the Chakora. Why are you raising such harsh arguments? Please hear my words that can remove all the offenses made during your vrata." So here's Krishna's reasoning. Can you quench thirst without water? Without evening, summer gives no relief. Therefore, you should follow my order. You can wipe away all your sins just by offering your respects to me. If you do it with great faith and devotion, you will receive the desired result in many ways. Oh, beautiful young girls! To counteract your offense, you should stand before me with straightened legs and offer obeisances while placing your joined palms above your heads. So I'm quoting from Srila Kavikarnapura, who's expanded on the particular argument Lord Krishna presents to the gopis of how they can nullify the offense that they've caused. And we get the same kind of statement from Krishna in the Bhagavatam in the previous verse, where he says, offering obeisances in this way with their palms joined above their heads meant that the gopis could no longer cover their bodies. So that's the significance, the controversial aspect of the request being made of them. So this particular motion of raising their hands above their heads and the following of Lord Krishna's instruction, it actually meant that they sacrificed their modesty. So we have to look at this. So if one considers what Lord Krishna himself says of the result of not following his direction, he uses the term falsely. This is in Bhagavad Gita, when he's referring to the manner in which one will direct oneself. So if one's not following his direction, one's going to be acting falsely. This is the word Lord Krishna uses in Bhagavad Gita when he's having a discussion with Arjuna. That's from 1860. So that verse is Yad ahankaram ashritya me yotsya iti manyase mirhayasa vyasayaste prakritisvam niyokshati. And this is a translation. So he's addressing Arjuna, but it's on this point of, if one does not follow his direction. If you do not act according to my direction and do not fight, then you will be falsely directed. By your nature, you will have to be engaged in warfare. So the default position for not following Lord Krishna's direction means that one just acts according to what one's nature is. So in the case of Arjuna, he feared that he would incur sinful reaction. And his fear was that he was going to be killing his teacher, he was going to be killing his grandfather, and his friends. So one can see there's some conflict there. So in his case, he was thinking on the plane of false ego, meaning he's thinking that he's the master of his actions and also the results that are going to come from them. So I'm going to be killing my grandfather, I'm going to be killing my teacher, I'm going to be killing my friends. So hence, I know that I'm going to be suffering a bad reaction. So therefore, the implication is he's seen himself as the master of the results of even the action he performs. And Srila Prabhupada, he points out that this kind of thinking is just a reflection of the soul being subject to those patterns that are in the mind, the conditioned nature. And so one comes to forget one's position, meaning that there's a position subservient to that of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this example is interesting. It's sort of like a foil for what is transpiring in this situation that we're reading about here. Because in this situation, with the gopis, they immediately accept Lord Krishna's statement as to what action on their part is necessary. And so that action for them was already performed. They had bathed naked while executing their vow. So for the gopis, there's no question of not following the direction given by Krishna regarding the action they needed to perform, because they see that they've been told an offense has been caused. So there's no question in their mind. They have to nullify the offense. And the action they're going to have to perform is offer obeisances to the Supreme Lord in their existing condition at that particular moment in time, which means they're separated from their clothing, and they've been asked to offer obeisances right then at that moment in time, even to be able to access their clothing. So Srila Prabhupada, he reasons this way. So this is kind of interesting. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, and this is how Srila Prabhupada puts it, he gives direction as to what is good and what is bad. And not simply And one simply has to act in Krishna consciousness to attain the perfection of life. So this is that transcendental position that's referenced in the purport here, that the transcendental position of Krishna consciousness is clearly described here. So this is that one. Krishna gives the direction for what's good and what's bad, and one simply has to follow that in the mood of Krishna consciousness, because this brings perfection. So no one can ascertain what his destiny is going to be in the same way that the Supreme Lord can see it. Therefore, the best course of action is to take direction from the Supreme Lord and then act. So this is Srila Prabhupada. It's general statement for a kind of modus operandi in one's life. And the reason is just that one cannot actually see what one's destiny is. So Krishna, by giving indication of what one's course of action should be, it's actually keeping one on a protected transcendental plane as opposed to, just going the route of destiny. So for the gopis, when Krishna pointed out that bathing naked was an offense, the gopis accepted his statement, and the implication for them was that their vow had become useless due to the offense. So Srila Prabhupada, again, he's making a generalization, and this is from the purport of the verse I read, where Krishna is indicating how it is that one should operate, merely accepting his direction. So this is Srila Prabhupada. No one should neglect the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead or the order of the spiritual master, who's the representative of God. One should act unhesitatingly to execute the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That will keep one safe in all circumstances. So notice this point of safety, because when one's confronting something that on the regular material plane brings into question the morality, the course of action is always to unhesitatingly execute the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the spiritual master. Now, this is the thought process of the gopis. And Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he elaborates on it. He says, so this is how the gopis are processing. If we satisfy Krishna, who's the sum total of all results, then what else remains to be gained? So that's how they finally conclude. So this kind of attitude is this kind of unhesitating willingness to follow the order of the Supreme Lord. Now, the reason there's this kind of unhesitating willingness to follow the order of the Supreme Lord is that the gopis know that Krishna is satisfied. If Krishna is satisfied, then they're also going to be satisfied. And indeed, they're correct. There's nothing more to be gained. If Krishna is satisfied, they're going to be satisfied. So, obviously it's a very advanced state of faith and closeness or intimacy of relationship with Krishna to be able to function so unhesitatingly. But this is the extraordinary example that's been set here. Of course, the question remains, there's a counter-argument. And this is the counter-argument from Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. You may gain the results, meaning of the vow, but what about the sin that you're now going to be incurring? Because after all, they're actually going to be exposing their youthful bodies to a male person in a secluded place, and they're unmarried young woman. So there's a counter-argument. You gain the results of your vow, which is to get Krishna as your husband. So, but in advance, one is incurring a sin because of exposing one's body to that personality. So it's an interesting counter-argument, and definitely has to be looked at. So looking at it, the definition of sin, and it's given by Lord Krishna, and he says that it originates with lust in contact with the material world. So that's the definition of sin. And it stems from the mode of passion. So based on lust. So naturally, the gopis have a service attitude. They actually want to serve Lord Krishna. So it's not that they're coming under the sway of lust in some way. Further, they're also following the system recommended by Lord Krishna to avoid sin. And that is they're performing sacrifice. So, of course, Srila Prabhupada states that actually, and this is interesting, there isn't any necessity even of rigidly following the performance of prescribed yagyas or sacrifice for transcendentalists, those who are actually above vice and virtue, which is the position of the gopis. It's on such a purified state of existence in their intimate relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead that they actually are considered to be beyond vice and virtue. But still, we're seeing that they're performing sacrifice. And of course, this is different for persons who are engaging in sense gratification and maybe under the sway of lust. It's actually essential for the regular persons to be performing sacrifice so that sin isn't incurred. Now, this comes from Bhagavad Gita 3.16, this particular emphasis on the necessity of performing sacrifice. And Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that the answer to the question that's posed, this counter-argument that, okay, the gopis are gaining the results of their vow, but at the same time, how they're dealing with the sin they're incurring. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur responds to that question as a counter-argument, this counter-argument to the gopis, and he says, Krishna is the purifier of all sins. So this is how it gets resolved, the conflict. Krishna is actually the one who purifies one of all sins. And that's those words there, the Avadya Mrik. Now, the gopis' action is analyzed by Srila Prabhupada, and we get something of that in this purport where he's writing in Krishna book. So this is Srila Prabhupada. The gopis gave up normal standards of morality and raising their hands to their heads, bowed down in compliance with Krishna's order. So they perform the act that's asked of them. So this is an example of pure devotional surrender. And it's not actually a discrepancy in religious practices or in religious principles, because they're already occupying that position of being above vice and virtue on the transcendental plane. So actually the actions that they perform indicates devotional surrender. So it's not on a regular plane of morality, of somehow acting with some discrepancy in religious principles, meaning as young women exposing their naked forms to a male person in a secluded place. So it's not actually a discrepancy in religious principles. So it's a very delicate thing, and one certainly has to have insight into transcendental knowledge to be able to appreciate the particular decision they took, that one would almost think it's actually incurring sin. So, yeah. So in Krishna book, Srila Prabhupada, he says that nothing can compare with the Krishna consciousness of the gopis. They didn't care actually for Varuna, the demigod, nor for any other demigod. And why this is significant is because Krishna said to them, this is Krishna talking, "Oh young ladies, this is not the proper conduct of righteous people," meaning their naked bathing. "A person doing a vrata should never bathe naked in a river, By doing so, you have offended Varunadev, the presiding deity of the river. And by playing in the water while looking at the bank, you have also offended the devatas. So Krishna's laying it on very thickly to the gopis. But from Srila Prabhupada's writing, we understand that actually they didn't even care about this particular offense to Varunadev that Krishna was pointing out to them. And Krishna says, although you have obstructed my desires, your offense can be mitigated because you acted in ignorance. If you really want to achieve the results of your vrata, then you must atone for your offenses by following my advice. As from Krishna Kavikarnapura. And so what it really comes down to is that actually the gopis only had one desire. Because they're existing on this transcendental plane, they just wanted to satisfy Krishna. And there's Krishna's response to them. He actually became very ingratiated and satisfied by the simple dealings of the gopis. Just because, they're so simply accepting that what he says is the truth. That is what they have to abide by. And he immediately delivered their respective garments, one after another. So that was Krishna's response. And that's written in Krishna book this way. Krishna became very ingratiated, satisfied by the simple dealings of the gopis, and immediately delivered their respective garments, one after another. And in fact, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that Krishna gave them back all their garments, rather than just their undergarments, which has been something he was proposing earlier on, because he was pleased that they had done as he wished. So here's the final description of Srila Kavikarnapura. And so this is Krishna about to hand back the garments of the gopis. It says, glancing wantonly at the young girls, Krishna revealed his desires by saying, "You have greatly pleased me, and I feel the utmost limit of love for you. Dress yourselves in your clothes, which are redder than pomegranate flowers. May you drown in the ocean of ecstasy according to your individual taste of love." So Krishna understands their position and he's responding accordingly, and it's even stated quite clearly here. Drown in the ocean of ecstasy according to individual taste of love. So he understands the love's on a transcendental plane, and their action is on a transcendental plane, meaning a plane of great devotion and subservience to Lord Krishna. So this is how much I could extract from the verse. It's rather elevated subject matter. If there's any thoughts on the matter. Well, thank you very much for your kind attention. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.